Hey guys, welcome back to Builder Funnel Radio. This is episode 88 and another edition of the Growth Series. Now today I just get super tactical with you and I bring you 3 marketing strategies that we're using right now with some of our clients, and I get straight to the point. It's not a super long episode. I want you to be able to dive right in, take some action on these things, and start executing on some marketing strategies. So I hope you enjoy this podcast and this session. Again, this is episode 88 and another edition of the Growth Series here on Builder Funnel Radio. Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you're doing well. And today I wanted to dive into some very tactical marketing ideas that you guys can be working on and implementing right now. I know there's still a lot of things in flux, with some states being in total lockdown. Many states, construction is still considered essential, which is an excellent thing. And things seem to be changing, day by day, and, stay-at-home orders are getting extended, and then some are seeming like they're getting ready to expire, and some states are starting to open back up. So I wanted to talk about a few things that we've been implementing across the board for some of our clients, and just some really just tactical ideas that you can take away and be working on. And these are great things to be doing, I would say, generally all the time, but they're super applicable right now. And there's probably more opportunity to generate some interest and awareness for these types of activities right now, with people being at home more and online even more than we were in the past. And so the first thing I want to talk to you about is webinars. Now, webinars are basically just a digital version of seminars or open houses or those types of events. And so I know a lot of remodelers use an ongoing strategy of hosting events and putting on seminars on a Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon or something like that. And you bring in people and you educate on a topic. Webinars are even easier to pull off because you don't have to organize the actual event. It's just all digital. And it's a great way to get something in front of your audience that adds value to them. And so let's kind of walk through an example of how this might play out and why I think this is such a good strategy for you right now. So let's just say you're going to host a webinar, and you're going to do that in 2 or 3 weeks from now, or maybe if you're moving quick, you're going to do that in a week or so. So you come up with a topic, and this could be current design trends. It could be the remodeling process or the building process. That is a really big one because a lot of your customers don't know all the steps and everything that's involved. And so that might be a great topic for you. Once you've got a topic, what you're going to do is create a landing page or a registration page for this. So you're going to have people come sign up on your website. They're going to fill out a form, and now they're in the queue, basically ready to attend. Now, I've been talking to a few people about this concept, and some questions have come up. And one of those is basically, what software do I use for this? And I would say use Zoom, use GoToMeeting or GoToWebinar, use WebEx. Those are kind of the top 3 that I have experience with, and they all are pretty comparable in terms of functionality, what they can do. And so they have varying pricing. It's all fairly similar. And that's just the tool that allows you to capture registrations and then actually host the webinar. And if you've never run one of these before, you haven't done a lot of online meetings or anything, it can feel a little bit intimidating, but it's really not too bad. You basically just log into these accounts, kind of set up a meeting or a webinar, and it'll ask you to fill in a bunch of fields like the date and time, and a registration page where people can fill out their name and their email, phone number, that sort of thing. And then it really becomes a game of promoting the webinar. So once you've got your topic and you've got your technology, so you've got your registration page, then we're going to promote this webinar. So this gives you fuel in terms of things that you can be sending out. So you can email your database. So the people that you normally send your newsletter to, past prospects, past leads, past customers, let them know, hey, we're hosting this online webinar. Hey, we're hosting a virtual lunch and learn where we're going to talk about, the process of remodeling, all the steps that are involved. And so you can promote it via email. You can promote it via all your social media channels, and then you start to get people to register. Then as they're registering, you're going to send them a few reminder emails to make sure they show up on the webinar. And then you're going to actually execute on the webinar. And so for the webinar, it doesn't need to be super complicated. Create a basic slide deck. It could be 10 or 20 slides. And then at the end, you're going to have kind of a call to action for people to book a virtual meeting and basically enter the sales process. So what we're trying to do here is capture interest, people that are thinking about remodeling. It's on their wish list. They're maybe a little uncertain right now with everything going on. And so we're going to allow them basically this way to engage with us on a more personal level. They can get to know us because they're going to hear you speak on this topic. And then at the end, when they've already kind of gotten to know you and they trust you a little bit more, they've heard you speak, now they're going to be more inclined to book a meeting with you. And so now we're at the webinar day. So you're executing the webinar, you teach the topic, and then you get to the end and you say, hey, here's how you can book a meeting with myself or a team member and talk about your project. Then after the webinar, you're going to have a certain percentage of people that did not attend. You're basically going to have a total registrants list, and then you're going to have an attendees list and a did not attend list. Now you have the opportunity to follow up with every single attendee. And if they didn't book a meeting right on the webinar, then you can follow up with them and say, hey, thanks so much for attending the webinar. Just wanted to, confirm again, we're offering these virtual consultations. If you want to talk about your project, here's how you can get one scheduled. And then for everybody that did not attend, what you can do is send them the recording to the webinar, and you can let them know about, again, booking a virtual consultation. Now, after all of this, so you've probably booked some meetings by this point, but now you have this recorded webinar that's going to sit on your website, and you can use a landing page or a conversion page and allow people to download it on demand. And so now it can be an evergreen lead generation funnel for you ongoing. So as people visit your website, they can download the webinar, and again, they can book that virtual consultation, they can set up the sales meeting, and then you can continue to promote this webinar over time. So you can continue to say, hey, we had this webinar a few weeks ago, it's available on demand now, go ahead and download it on our website. And so you can promote the webinar on demand to your email list and to your social media. And if you build a regular cadence of doing these webinars, you've always got really good content to promote on email and on social media. And if you think about those channels perform the best when you actually have something of value to add to your audience. And so I think that this strategy, again, is really strong all the time, but especially right now where people are registering for more online events. They want to interact with people. They're trying to find ways to engage with people outside of their home. And if they need to do that digitally, they're more inclined to do these types of things right now. So I highly recommend that you consider webinars as a general strategy moving forward, but especially right now, if you're looking for some creative ways, some tactical things that you can spend your time on that will provide you with some opportunities and some content and some ways to engage your audience, I think webinars is a great way to go. Now, the second thing I wanted to get into was email. And I mentioned email in promoting webinars, but I think email is one of the most underutilized tools that we have today, really, in our digital marketing tool set. And the reason being, it's one of the quickest, cheapest ways to get your message directly to your audience. And so I think especially during times like this, we need to be communicating how you're adapting to the situation, what precautions you're taking. Are you still able to do work or are you not? And communicating that. Are you able to book virtual consultations? Are you able to do design work? Like, what can you do? What can't you do? And be over communicating that to your clients, your prospects, because you're thinking about all these things, but they don't know. They don't know anything about what you're going through. They don't know about what precautions you're taking. So it's your job to over communicate those things. And I think email is one of the best ways to do that. And then it's a great way to share, hey, we have this webinar. Hey, we have this project that we just featured on our website. We just wrote this blog post. Now you can read that and check it out. A lot of times we create content and then we don't promote it enough. And email is one of the best ways to do that. But I think in general, leveraging email right now to let people know, hey, this just came out in our state. This is how things are changing. This is how we're adapting. Here's what you can do. You can book a meeting. We can work on design. Hey, we're still able to work on your project. Those types of details, just basically keeping people informed and up to date. Don't overlook email. It's a great way to stay in constant communication with your audience. And even if it's just updating them with that kind of information, don't overlook the marketing and the branding that you're picking up there. You're staying top of mind, you're being helpful, you're being proactive. These are all good things that you're associating with your brand from a marketing standpoint. So don't sleep on email. I would say be sending emails out at least a couple of times a month, but you could probably ramp that up to weekly. And potentially, if you're sending out a lot of helpful information like promoting webinars and sharing blogs, you could be maybe even pushing out a couple of emails a week. And then the last point that I wanted to talk about was really around content marketing and being timely. So a lot of us had content marketing plans built out for Q1, Q2, or even beyond that in terms of the blogs we wanted to write, the videos we wanted to create, in our case, the podcasts. All this content was planned out. And then COVID-19 happened and that all went out the window in terms of some of that just isn't relevant anymore, or it isn't as timely, it isn't as helpful. This is something that we're all thinking about, we're all in together. And so it doesn't make sense to kind of push it to the side or not talk about it. And so I say kind of embrace it and just say, hey, this is what we're all dealing with. How can I shift gears and add value to my audience? So if it's writing a blog about how you can build a DIY office, while we're all quarantined, hey, that's a really helpful post. You can send that out to your audience. They're going to get some value out of it. They might get some creative ideas. And you may be thinking, well, that's not going to lead me to book a sales meeting. Well, maybe, maybe not. But the point is, what we're trying to do right now is capture some mind share while being helpful. And so the whole premise of content marketing is really win-win. And that's why we subscribe to this philosophy, and we have for the last 10 years, because you start by adding value into the world. You're saying, hey, I have some expertise, I have some knowledge to share. I'm going to openly share that knowledge. That could be through a blog post, an email, a social media post, a video, a podcast. That doesn't matter. What matters is the message that you're delivering, and does it add value to your audience? And if you continue to add enough value to them, they're going to be paying more attention to you. They're going to trust you. They're going to like you. And ultimately, more people will buy from you. And if you think about the old way of marketing, it was very much, I'm going to create an ad and then I'm just going to shove it out there on TV or on radio, and I'm just going to blast it out there. Content marketing flips the script and says, hey, I'm going to create something that somebody actually wants to read or actually wants to consume. They want to watch it. They want to listen to it. And then by doing that, I'm going to pull those people to me and I'm going to attract them to me. And then you've added value to them. And so they walk away from that experience going, wow, I really learned something, or wow, that was really interesting, or that was helpful to me. And so now they've got a good impression of you, of your brand. And when the timing is right, when they are ready to do their project, you've been helping them every step of the way. So I would encourage you to think about some topics that you can talk about right now that are the most helpful to your target audience, even if they don't directly link back to a meeting, a sale today. It will lead back to sales eventually. And it could be today for some of those folks, but it won't be today for everybody. But it could be a couple months from now or 6 months from now and into the future. So I strongly recommend that if you're looking for ways to spend your time, you look at creating content that really adds value and really helps your target audience. And so back to my original point of a webinar, that fits all those kind of criteria. You're creating content that's going to add value to your audience, but the webinar concept actually just has a nice tie-in to naturally leading people into the sales process because they've engaged with you at a deeper level than, say, just reading a blog post. So as a takeaway from today, I would say, dive into the webinar strategy. Give that a shot. Make sure you're leveraging email and you're communicating frequently with your prospects and your past customers, your current leads, your pipeline. And then think about content from a standpoint of how can I just add the most value right now in terms of my blogs, my videos, the information that I'm putting out there, and it will come back to you in the return of sales either today or in the future. So I hope this was a helpful episode, guys. I just wanted to dive into a few tactical things for you real quick. These are things, like I said, we've been implementing for some of our clients. We've been recommending to them. And these are also things that will work kind of evergreen, ongoing into the future too. But I think now is a great time to get started because a lot of us have a little more time to spend on these types of activities, but also our audience is more open to looking for this information and spending the time with it. So give it a whirl, dive in. I hope this was helpful, and we'll see you next time on Builder Funnel Radio. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that episode. Again, just getting super tactical with you. Those are 3 ideas that I think are really worth spending some time on right now from a marketing perspective. And those are basically my same takeaways for today. I normally do some takeaways for you guys, but if you guys have been getting some value out of the podcast, I would really appreciate it if you took a couple of minutes, headed over to iTunes and left us a review. It really helps us keep this thing going and spread the word to other people that could use this information and benefit from it. So I would really appreciate that. And again, hope you enjoyed this episode today. These are 3 ideas that I think are really strong, especially the webinar idea. I hope to see a bunch more of those popping up all over the country. If you do execute on it, definitely hit me up at radio@builderfunnel.com. Let me know how it went, and let me know if you have any questions on how to execute on these things. Thanks again for listening, guys. We'll see you next time on Builder Funnel Radio.